First, a moment of silence. Meher Baba said, love is silent. And Meher Baba is love. He's the silent avatar of love. And so we will share a moment of silent love with the silent beloved. I have prepared a speech, and I guess that's as terrible as it sounds. When Meherji was here not long ago, he gave me a hint, and I took it as from Baba. He said, I'm going to read my speech because I don't want to hurt anyone's feelings. And I'm not so much concerned about that. I don't want to hurt my reputation. Because I'm sure to say something outlandish or something here. But let me see. I will share something with you before I begin and see if we can get around that somehow. I had a guru in the Depression time, 1930s. He met Meher Baba in 1931 and 32. He taught us that conversation, mutual conversation brings mutual understanding, and that will bring world peace. That makes a lot of sense because, ambassadors and so on, they have to come to mutual understanding. But when he met Meher Baba, he couldn't say a word. He was speechless. And we read about Myron Taylor, ambassador to the Vatican from the United States. He kneeled before the Pope and kissed his ring. And my guru said, that is undemocratic, and never kneel bow your knee to a man. And so when he met Meher Baba, he fell to his knees. And he told me, I said, I read a book by Saint Teresa of Avila, and she had wonderful visions. He said, they were imagination. When he met Baba, he had a wonderful vision. And he also taught us to be stoic and not to be crybabies and so on. He had tears in his eyes when he met Baba. And that is typical of Meher Baba, because Meher Baba knows. And it's his Leela, divine play. And if you want to know what the significance of that is, well, I'm telling you the story, and I think it's very interesting. It tells us something about Meher Baba. I was thinking of the title for this talk, and I had many titles. Finally, I came down to the choice of two. One is the everything and the nobody. This is about my life with Meher Baba. So I thought that would be a good title, appropriate. And then the other one is the nothing and the everything, because we lose nothing and we gain everything in loving Meher Baba. So that would be a description of this talk tonight, if I get around to it. And I really do this with reluctance, and I would love to talk to you from the heart and tell you about Meher Baba and my life with Meher Baba. But Meher Baba told me, don't talk. And what it meant was, don't talk publicly. No public speeches. So, I'm duty bound not to do that, because there are bound to be consequences. Baba tells you something. And Baba has absolute knowledge. It's amazing. He'll make a general statement which is contrary to logic, contrary to experience. And years go by, and it's true, and it's true, and it's true. It's amazing. Because he's God. I don't know what he does. Maybe he makes it true. Now that, if Baba says so, then it will come to pass, regardless of laws and rules and so on. That is my experience. And that's where we are caught with Baba, because our intellect works, and the intellect is nothing. And that is a tragic part of meeting Meher Baba, that the intellect contradicts him, and there is I might say, a conflict. There was. Baba would always go against my intellect and would catch me off guard, contradicting Baba. But I'm not the only one. But a person like Adele or Phyllis, they came to Baba with love, and they have very good intellects, better than mine, but they followed the heart.
I think you ought to change that term and say that everything in the no bodies, and that includes us all.
How about no mind? No intellect. Just the heart.
No bodies.
Meher Baba and the heart. Sweetheart, that's Adele. And so the way to meet Meher Baba is through the heart, and I failed to do that in a very strange way, and it was disastrous. It was a disaster. And I would have come out even, not gaining anything from my contact with Baba. And I've seen Baba 4 times. And I was in India during the 3 incredible weeks with Meher Baba. But I would have gained nothing from being Meher Baba, because I've done things to contradict what Baba said. And nullified what he said. And but he said, well, that's my speech. That's in my speech. So I think maybe I should begin reading. Okay. He was doing universal work, no question about it, because he kept telling us, I brought you here for the final declaration that was the 30th of September, and that's saying that after the final declaration we left the same evening. So Baba's work was done with us from that point of view. And I don't mention the final declaration here in my talk tonight, but it was tremendously important. It was read 4 times in different languages, 4 different languages. And we were sitting there, we didn't understand a word of the other languages, but we did understand the English. And it was important. Whatever happened to us individually, I don't know. But there were repercussions from that message. It was a universal message. And what Baba said is becoming clearer and clearer now. That's taking all this time. It's still not clear. For instance, he said in the final declaration that 3/4 of humanity would be destroyed, or the world would be destroyed. That hasn't happened. And we're still wondering exactly what he meant. But he said that God does, is, and knows everything. There's one little phrase in there. And the more you think about that, the more you find that it is true. It is a wonderful mantra. It's sufficient to guide your life by individually. But if God does, is, and knows everything, then why should I blame Charles or anybody for anything? And Baba said, nobody's to blame. If anybody's to blame, I am to blame, because I am I created this. And there's nothing and nobody but myself. Only Baba is the real. And that is the truth. One of the things you can't get away from that Baba said. And Baba said that the religion has been a farce. And that's true also. And since 1954, when he said that, I think half of the people in the United States would agree that religion has been a farce. If they have studied history, or even right now, they know what's going on. They just come to the point where they don't know what's right and what's wrong, what is moral, what is immoral, what is ethical or non-ethical. Should you marry or not marry? All that is a chaos. So Meher Baba has given the guide. So that was the final declaration, and I'm still hedging about reading. I will mention another wonderful and universal message at that time, and that was my call. It was called Meher Baba's Call. We are all called to Meher Baba. We don't come here unless Baba invites us. No matter how learned and intelligent and spiritual a person is, they will be riding by and see Avatar Meher Baba, just keep going. No connection. They haven't been called. And in that, Baba told us who he is, what he was going to do, and why he came. It was a very heavy message, and it was, Baba gave us printed copies of that, and I didn't read it. It was so heavy, because Baba was saying, we are all one, I am that one, and speaking of divine love, and that he was Krishna returned. I wasn't prepared for all that, and so one day Baba said to Will Beckett, a very old Mandali, Western mother, did you read my call? And that was meant for me. I didn't read it. And it was very important because it was a very important message. I began reading it, and it's in the Awakening magazine and the God Man. And it's worth memorizing. But I couldn't sink my teeth into it for a long time because it meant accepting Baba as fully God on earth, and I wasn't prepared. And I didn't understand this, how he could come and when everything is going wrong and write it. I had studied Spanish and I read the Don Quixote, Don Quixote. And he was fighting windmills. And so that's what Baba said. I said, I came back to right wrongs, and that is exactly what Don Quixote said he was going to do. And he fought windmills with a spear. So, however, now I do accept that. And it is a delight. And I'm very happy that Baba finally gave me time. I'm retired. And he gave me time to read all that and absorb it and digest it. Because I came to Baba with the mind, with the intellect. Unfortunately, I had got a university degree, and suddenly I had an intellect. I wrote my thesis, and suddenly I realized, boy, I got power. Before that, I didn't study. I just went right through school. Didn't study and just got the grade somehow or another by Baba's grace. But for the thesis, I had to write. I liked writing. So when I came to Baba, I felt that the time that I'd spent in the university and so on, that all the years of education were wasted. Because when I came to Baba in 1954 and he spoke to us, he told us that you don't come to God through the intellect. It's almost useless to come to God through the intellect. God is beyond the mind, beyond intellect. You can't touch him. And So I felt, gee, I sure did waste my time all those years. Never heard the word of God in the university or any place. It was like I might as well have been back in Russia where I was as a child, in the communist school system. No God. And Baba, however, saved the situation. He said, "You're an educated man." I made a right face because, I knew the truth. But Baba said I was an educated man, and that took care of the matter. I wish he had said I was an enlightened person. But if Baba were to meet me now, he probably would say it. And the reason I say that, I'm not bragging, the reason I say that is because Baba had a wonderful program for me of using my intellect constructively and creatively in connection with Meher Baba, his life, his person, his personality, his teaching. Meher Baba's teaching is the greatest there is. There's no question about it. I mean, there are other teachers and their students will say, well, ours is the best teaching. But there are people that I know from other groups that just rave about Baba. One of them said, "Is a great cat." And that's the best compliment you can get from that group. Yeah. They are spiritual people. Once a newcomer saw a film there, Baba, there was a cat in it. Do you remember that one? Baba, cat rolling on the Baba's foot. And this fellow came out and was very much impressed. He said, "Great cat." I said, "You mean Meher Baba?" "No," he said, "that cat." He had no connection. He had a connection with the cat. Animal kingdom. So Baba said I was an educated man, and I became an educated man. He blessed my memory. He said, "Remember," a couple of times to me, some connection. And so I could, in writing for Baba, I could almost put my finger on any page that I opened the book to a page that I needed. Because Baba wanted me, he didn't say so, but it was understood somehow that I would rewrite Baba's teaching, all his teaching, everything that Baba ever wrote, rewrite it, and edit it and comment on it. He said, "You interpret me well. Tell them, say it." He didn't want me to mince words. Meher Baba is the avatar. Meher Baba is God in person. And Meher Baba will do this and that. He will right the world. He will do everything that he said. And not only that, but he under-promises like a good salesman and over-produces. The Baba had like the English people, he had the gift for genius for understatement. He would say something very quietly and suddenly there's a storm. Or there's a storm and Baba sits there impassive. It's the opposite of what you expect, but what you would expect from God in person. A small thing will move him, and disaster, big disaster, I don't mean what you hear that, will move him, not move him. So he said, "You're an educated man," and I asked him, "What is the nature of service to the group?" I was in the Monday night group with Adele, and incidentally, I owe Adele a great debt, which I'm paying now. That I won't owe you any more karma after tonight. Adele was very, very helpful. Phyllis too. They were the real active people there in the Monday night group. And they set the pace for me. By which I mean I did some of their work. So Baba wanted me, so then I said, what is the nature of service? I came to serve. I came for knowledge. And I came for wisdom. Because I wanted to have a platform in space. I wanted to help humanity, but I felt I didn't know anything spiritual. I didn't know anything really worthwhile. And to communicate to people that would really help I was thinking not individually, help anybody individually, but I needed that help myself. But I thought, disregarding me, with my neurosis and my madness and whatever is wrong with me, I will help humanity, and I'm going to ask Meher Baba how to do it. So that's what I meant. What is the nature of service? And Meher Baba did two things. He pointed me to himself, and he pointed me to myself. Because you cannot really help humanity unless you yourself are sane, and that's a minimum. And unless you yourself have life in you, inner life, you're a balanced person. I didn't know that. And I thought, well, I took myself for granted, I'm going to help. The Bible said, I want your body, mind, and possessions. Possessions in Indian, tan means, the Bible said in Hindi also, tan, man, and tan. Tan. Tan means life. I want your body, mind, and possessions of life. This is what perfect masters ask of those whom they accept as disciples. And this is what Krishna asked of Arjuna when he accepted him as a disciple. And so Baba was saying that I would have to surrender to Baba as I was, and that wasn't the end of it. I mean, I could have fallen at Baba's feet and said, Baba, I surrender to you. Like that man who brought 10 children, couldn't afford to, said, Baba, I surrender everything I have to you, my possessions. I didn't have anything, I didn't even have children. So I could have bowed down to Baba's feet. But that wasn't sufficient. As a matter of fact, I didn't do that. I didn't bow down to Baba because the conditioning in the West, you think of God as being up there, and his feet are way over beyond the sky, so whom are you going to bow down to? But Baba had a book that I had shown him, and he put it down low so that I had to bend, and then the glasses were in my pocket and fell out, and I had to bend down. And coming up, I kissed Baba's hand. So that broke the ice for me. So that was one thing, body, mind, and possessions. I didn't have any possessions. I didn't even have a body because I was 44 and I consider myself as finished, in this industrial, technological society. When you have done your share, you're finished at 44. You're a nervous wreck, you're a physical wreck. And so I thought, well, no body, and in my mind I was neurotic. All that. Body, mind, possession, no possessions at all. I had no job. So, well, I'm not neurotic anymore. And people think I am, but the reason is Baba, Baba works in wonderful ways. He came with me, he said, take the medication that the doctor gives you. And the doctor gave me tranquilizer. And after a while I was all right. No more nervousness or anything. Look at my hand. Can you see me from the back? At age 71. So Baba did that. Just like that, using the doctor, because I was prejudiced against the doctor. I didn't want. If I were dying, I wouldn't be found dead in a hospital. I mean, nobody would, but well, let's see. Getting back to surrender, and I said to Baba, I wrote down my questions, 6 questions, and Baba liked the questions. They were good questions. I didn't come to Baba to ask him, Baba, I want children, or I want a good wife. I guess the wife would be first, and the children. You see how we're mixed up nowadays. And after being 27 years with Baba, I make a mistake like that. I think I better read. So, well, let's see. I'll continue a little while longer and see how I make out. There's plenty of chairs. Another question I asked Baba was, can I discard my intellect? Because Baba was knocking the intellect, so I said, well, all right, I'll give up the intellect. I'll surrender the intellect. But that's easier said than done in the first place. But I thought, well, if I could live at Baba's feet in India, that would be the thing. That would be the ideal, and I wouldn't have to, I'd be willing to do anything, and I don't need the intellect. But Baba said, no, the positive mind is worth to me more than the work of saints. Now, that sounds like a big exaggeration. And I suppose it was, but the positive mind, now, well, Baba does exaggerate sometimes, a little. I mean, he will make a fuss about somebody and all that, and the person may be a scoundrel. But Baba has his reasons for doing that. So it's generally true that what Baba says he means. So Baba said, no, the positive mind. Now, why did you say the positive mind? I came to Baba with a negative mind. And that is about the worst thing that could happen to enemies. I wouldn't wish that to an enemy. A negative mind. And that's what happened to me because of the heavy karma in this life. And I came from another planet some time ago. Baba brought me down. And I've just stuck with that, it seems. So however, Baba did more or less the miraculous. He had me work on he said, the positive mind is worth me more than the work of saints. So Baba wanted me to work. I owed him karma, owed him service, and he wanted me to work with my intellect, mainly. Now, I'm here at the center, I'm a caretaker, so I work here, but my main work I consider the writing about Meher Baba, his life, and writing about his teaching, and I put everything Baba sent in the center of the whole thing. Meher Baba said, Meher Baba will do this, and Meher Baba will do that, and it's true. It's true. We are helpless, and those who have been with Baba a long time know that we are helpless unless humanity is helpless, unless the avatar comes and rescues us, individually, collectively, universally. So I have been writing ever since I met Baba, and I don't know if you all know this, but I had some things published. I had about 37 articles published in Baba's journals, and about 15 poems, and 2 book reviews. So, but I have written about 20 books, I would say, and Baba said to send them to India, to Adi. Send all your writings to Adi in India. And I did. I would, for about 17 years, I was all alone. Adele saw me once or twice during that time. Phyllis saw me a couple of times. And incidentally, when Phyllis saw me, she was shocked. I was emaciated. And she said, why do you look like this? That was 1965. And in 1965, Meher Baba was suffering from the hepatitis of the neck. And he was suffering infinitely. He had mental suffering, spiritual suffering, physical suffering. So I said to Phyllis, when the beloved suffers, the lover has to suffer. And she wrote me a card, and she said, your visit gave my spirit a lift. And that was how I lived. I landed in the hospital twice as a result of severe dieting. Not really dieting, well, yes, dieting, not fasting. Dieting. Baba was guiding me inwardly. I would eat normally and then less and less, more normally, less and less. And finally, I ended in the hospital weighing 70 pounds. But Baba was getting me rid of sanskars. You know, when you fast, your mind gets clear. Did you notice that when you fast? And your body gets lighter. So Baba was attacking my problems from all angles, including the physical. Because I came to Baba as an undeveloped person, very gross conscious, and not an old soul at all. So Baba had to start from scratch. It wasn't like you see a statue, there's a break here, a break there. I was a statue that had to be melted down, recast. And Baba undertook that. It wasn't just a few pointers of character or anything. Baba had a vast program of regeneration for me. It's very amazing, and I see it now, what he was doing for me. And he started immediately, working with sanskaras. Only a perfect master, I would say, would be able to see and untie them and so on. So, getting back to my question, Baba, should I discard the intellect? No, but I was stuck with that because, Baba could accept other services than the mental, but I owed it to Baba, and Baba builds on what you have and what you are. So, Baba found a way for me to work with his teaching, and I'm now writing, I think I've finished one book. It has a big title, The New Humanity of Avatar MeherBaba. And the subtitle is The New World Order and Culture in the New Life of Grace. Now, that sounds exaggerated, but it isn't. I have written a book just like that, because it is Baba writing. Baba speaks through my right hand. I write, it's Baba. And so when Baba gives you something to do, or he gives you an order, he gives you the grace to do it. And if it's very difficult, you don't mind it because you're doing it for God. It's a joy. And for 17 years, I was alone, and Baba said, you work alone. And I suffered physically, I suffered mentally, I was, I'm an activist, I like to be in a group, I need a group and so on, so it was difficult. And also I have a health problem, and I had to go through all that karma and live through that, but Baba always sustained you, and it was wonderful knowing that no matter what the difficulties are, Baba is with you. And what better companionship could you hope for? A king or a queen? Nothing compared to Baba. So that would be the encouragement. And that is the situation when you work for MeherBaba. It supports you. I'll give you one example. When I landed in the hospital for the second time, I thought, the first time I was a starvation case. Second time I didn't know what I was there for. But I was still recovering from the starvation. And Baba was right there with me, but I didn't know it. So I wondered, that was one of the rare times that I wondered whether Baba was with me. But Baba proved to me. And he proved to me this way. In the first place, one time I said to myself, if I am Baba, if Baba is me, then why don't I see Baba? So Baba came and tried to superimpose himself on the subtle, and his figure moved back and forth. The Baba was telling me, it's not the time, it's not the place, it's just, you shouldn't insist. And as a result of insisting, the magnetism of the earth began coming up and reached it was going for the Kundalini. and I reached my knees and I stopped it. So that was wrong. But the time came, and this was the time. The right time is Baba's time. And I didn't ask Baba. I didn't even say, Baba, where are you? I was just puzzled. I said to myself subconsciously, I'm here, but where is Baba? In the hospital, helpless. So I saw some men lifting a weight, 40-pound weight, and in the corridor, and I said, can I try? And weak as I was, I started going up there, and so suddenly I was Baba. I was very light and very graceful. Baba is very graceful. And I walked up there, and I put my hand on the bars, and I gave a great shout, and there was a tremendous light, and I looked down, and my hands were still there on the bar. So I thought to myself, well, what is it? And so I asked the people, I said, did I lift it or didn't I? He said, yes, you lifted it. And so Baba proved to me that he was with me. And he will come through. Because we have a connection with Baba, and Baba is within us. He sees us. He said, I'm in you and see you. He is us, and in an emergency, he's right there to let you know. He's always there, but he's there to let you know when you need to know. So that was another question that I asked about my writing. And another book that I'm writing. So now that book is being written up. The New Humanity of our MeherBaba is being typed by our girls. They wanted to do it for nothing, but somebody sent me some money. A Sufi sent me some money. And today I received a check for the same book, The New Humanity, and she wants to be anonymous. They're not big checks, but enough to type out the book. And Kitty told me, when she was here a couple of years ago, she said, whatever you write, she introduced me to Sheila Krinsky, the printer in Myrtle Beach. Whatever you write, we will publish. So, the interesting thing is that I never expected to publish anything. But as I say, 36 articles were published. And Baba said in 1962 to the Maharani of Baroda, who was sitting there, and that was a queen. And here I was in the company of a queen, which is nothing because here was God. But anyway, for the moment, I was impressed. She was sitting on the floor, and I was sitting on the chair. I was sitting on Baba's right. Figured that one out. And so Baba said to her, Dana has been distributing my literature, publishing, printing leaflets, and I had the dealer's license. And for Baba's books, and I was distributing them all over. And I was very careful. Baba told me, gave me an order, said, now that you're in charge of Baba's literature, keep everything in black and white. And I would advise everybody to do that. Keep your bills and all. It saves you a lot of headaches. So I did that correctly. And Baba said to her, after enumerating what I did with Baba's literature, Dana publishes books. And she was impressed, but I thought to myself, well, gee, Baba is supposed to tell the truth, but he slipped up on it. I had no intention of publishing any book, and I never published a book. I thought I was lucky to have the articles published. So now here it is. Here it is. This book, it looks like will be published. And the other one is Evolution and God. You may have read in the papers that there is a big argument going on between evolutionists and creationists. People want God as creator to be taught in schools, public schools. They are sure that there was a creator and they want it. And the others don't want it. They want no part of God in the they feel that God doesn't fit in to the educational system. He's too big, I guess, or something. And that's the intellect, you see. They have no room for God. And MeherBaba said that God is the only thing that's important from the spiritual point of view. And that people seek happiness everywhere but from God, who is the source of happiness. And so you see the whole thing. People are miserable and people are confused because God is excluded from schools, He's excluded from the heart, and in our Western civilization in general. So I put Baba squarely in the middle of everything, the center of the world situation, and of the individual problems and all that. It works out beautifully. And Baba, incidentally, showed me how to write this book way back in '56. And it's a little trick, and it works beautifully because I'm not that good. I don't have that big a vocabulary. So I read a book, and out of the book I'll get a few paragraphs that I can, I guess you call that, interpolate. Huh?
Well, sure.
Interpolate. More or less interpolate. But then, for instance, this is a remarkable, nice paragraph, beautifully worded, but what's missing is Baba. So I just put Baba in there, and just beautiful. And it's original. I mean, you would never know that it's plagiarized. But you must remember that I have the authority of MeherBaba. And it's amazing. It's amazing. I don't dare read what I wrote because it's so wonderful. And I get a swell head. But so that's one book. Now this other one, Evolution and God, is the middle path. Now they don't want God in the. Now the Bible says, who says that God created the world? It said it lowers God's dignity to say that He created. Well, why does God need to create? And that is true, isn't it? From one point of view, He did not create. On another point of view, it says there that God created in the Bible the heaven and the earth on the first day. Well, that is, the heaven is, when the Queen searched, the Bible said that immediately there was the avataric consciousness. God knew who He was immediately. And then the other was the evolution, God finding out through an infinite process. And that is the earth, the growth. Isn't that interesting? And there is interesting article in the Future Life magazine about that, and I will write to them these details. That doesn't have to be. Don't force God on the Board of Education. You can put it in such a way that God did not necessarily create or consciously create, and so on. Anyhow, I've got a book going on that subject, The Evolution of Consciousness, the subtitle. Well, now I'm going to read my paper. It will take only 1 hour and a half.
Excuse me, Dave.
What time? Well, and come back, I won't read. Well, we lost only one, but... All right. We've got a half an hour? Well, let me read. So this is the anniversary of 1954 when I was with MeherBaba in India, in his ashram. 2 we lost. In 1954. And so that is the background for what I want to say. To describe MeherBaba would take someone more sensitive and responsive than myself. The greatest event of our time is not the technological society. It is the advent of Avatar MeherBaba. Technology is a new phenomenon in human history and is dispensable, needed. MeherBaba is indispensable, is the indispensable ancient one. Once Jack Small showed a film Meher Baba in slow motion. Part of it was slow motion. And it was a revelation. You saw Meher Baba for a few seconds. And there were oohs and ahs. And such a film is coming. Irvin Luck is making it. It's about ready. And the many changes on Baba's beautiful face in a matter of seconds was astonishing and elicited exclamation of delight from Jack and Virginia Small, among others. Baba's head turned this way and that way. His flashing eyes looked in every direction. It was an amazing display of Baba's divine personality. Love, peace, beauty, and joy emanated from Meher Baba's person, as attested by those who could see with the heart. Meher Baba was very graceful and gracious. Bill Beckett always talked about Baba's gracefulness. Baba's face could be impassive in moments of crisis, but at other times he was like a moving picture, very moving, with quick changes of mood and emotion. Once, when I said something outlandish to beloved Baba, a cloud passed swiftly over his face. Another time, Baba was very pleased and laughed heartily. But there was also a trace of sorrow, reminding me of a time when I had displeased the beloved. In 1962, at the East-West Savas, when I came to Guru Prasad to greet Baba, I thought, Baba is God and ought to be luminous and radiating light so that I could see it. When I looked at Baba from the veranda, that is what I saw. The beloved aims to please any reasonable expectation. Even Baba's white clothes shone with divine light. In fact, in 1956, at Meher Spiritual Center, Meher Baba revealed to me that he was the living Christ of the new cycle. Baba and the Mandali approached me with a holy light surrounding them. Much of the time, Baba does not need words to communicate. He has infinite ways of doing it. For instance, beloved Baba sent a message by Marguerite Poli to me. You can see on the subtle. Baba was pointing to me. A pear-shaped tear was on his cheek, half bliss and half grief. This shows how our actions and attitudes register with the beloved sight unseen. Baba's in India and I'm here in Los Angeles, and that tear showed that although I was doing my darnest to please Baba, I was doing some crazy things also. And that's the enough for you. I mean, I'm not the only one, of course. In Meher Baba's divine atmosphere, it seems that my sanskaras were neutralized, and I felt freer and purer. It is like a cool shower on a hot day today. In 1958, however, when I met Baba again in Myrtle Beach, Baba revealed to me that I had more weaknesses than you could shake a stick at. I seem to have missed something. Anyway, I had many weaknesses. I couldn't do anything right. For instance, when Baba with Aruch passed by and Baba smiled at me, I wanted to say in Hindi, Acha, Acha, good, good. And what came out was chalo, chalo, scram, scram. That's what you say to the beggar, you know, scram. And Baba made me say it, I'm sure. I couldn't have made such a mistake. But it was a little play. He was showing me, in 1958, he was showing me that I was a bad boy. And as a result, Baba showed me the face of a taskmaster. I saw a skeleton. And Baba was telling me, love having failed to correct me, from then on it was crime and punishment. On a 24-hour basis, I would get a headache. 24 hours the most. But I was learning the lessons that way. Baba decided to knock some sense into my head. And this is not exactly experienced, but I'll read this to you because it's more or less original. It certainly came to me. In 1962, during the East-West gathering, I wanted to make a purchase in a store around the corner of where Baba used to live, in Baba's house in Poona. The owner of the store asked me, "What has Meher Baba done for the people in all this time?" So I was amazed at the man's utter ignorance and simply answered, "If he has done nothing else but make people happy, it is enough." But now I can answer that question more fully. What Meher Baba has done. Avatar Meher Baba has given many divine gifts to the world in this incarnation. He has saved the world from destruction in our time, so far. He has created thousands of lovers of God. He has given out newly revealed truth, establishing the relevant moral and ethical values sorely needed. He has given us the new life under His grace and the new humanity. He has released new and creative energy universally. He is transforming the consciousness of mankind. He has shared with us His divine love in measureless abundance, unquote. As Meher Baba's greatest transforming agent, He has set a perfect example of manliness and humanness, or humaneness. He has shouldered the karmic burden of humanity and freed its spirit to be constructive and creative. He has laid the foundation for His new world order and culture. He is bringing sanity and happiness to the world so that true democracy will prevail. He brings real hope to the poor and downtrodden everywhere, especially in its third world. He is balancing the East by bringing Western practicality and technology there, and he brings Eastern spirituality to the West. Have I exaggerated, Adele? I wrote that in about 5 minutes because it's true. Although if I were a copywriter for advertising, I guess I could write that many lies in 5 minutes. So that doesn't prove anything. But a writer, see, I have Baba's hand. But, and that came to me suddenly. I think it's good to know somebody challenges us, and we are disciples of Meher Baba. We should be able to defend Meher Baba with the truth. And I don't think we can exaggerate what Meher Baba is doing. I mean, he hasn't saved the world yet, but it's coming. It took Jesus 2,000 years, and the world isn't saved yet.